Summary of Noli Me Tangere by José Rizal. The story of Noli Me Tangere takes place in the Philippines when they were ruled by Spain. In the first scene, Captain Tiago, a rich and powerful Filipino, throws a dinner party for Juan Crisóstomo Ibarra y Magdalene to welcome him back to the Philippines. In the past 7 years, Ibarra has gone to school in Europe. He learns from the other people at Captain Tiago's dinner party that his father, Don Rafael, died not long ago, but he doesn't know why or how. While everyone is eating, Father Damaso, a loud priest Ibarra has known since childhood, gets up and makes fun of Ibarra for going to Europe to get an education he could have gotten in the Philippines. In answer, Ibarra swallows his pride and doesn't insult the friar who is half drunk. His fiancée, Captain Tiago's daughter María Clara, wants him to stay a little longer to see her, but he leaves the dinner early anyway. Ibarra walks home with Señor Guevara, an officer in the Civil Guard, which is Spain's colonial army that polices the Philippines. The officer says that Father Damaso told Don Rafael he wasn't going to confession a few months after Ibarra left. Many people in the Spanish government and the church didn't like Don Rafael because he was very strong. They tell Ibarra that Don Rafael saw a government tax collector beat up a boy in the street one day. The tax collector hit his head on a rock when Rafael stepped in and accidentally pushed the man too hard. The man died because of this injury, and Ibarra's father was jailed and charged with heresy and rebellion. At this point, Father Damaso made more charges against him, and everyone turned their backs on him. Guevara says that Don Rafael had already died in jail by the time he was finally found to be innocent. Ibarra goes back to San Diego, the place where his father died, to remember the bad things that happened there. María Clara moves to San Diego with Captain Tiago because he owns several homes there. November is coming up, and the town has a big event to mark the occasion. There are a lot of religious events around this festival, like All Souls' Day, which remembers the dead who are in purgatory waiting for their souls to be cleaned before going to heaven. Because of this, the priests in San Diego beg the people there to buy indulgences, which they say shorten the time a soul has to suffer in purgatory. Ibarra can tell right away that the Catholic friars' power in the Philippines has grown a lot since he left for Europe because they have control over even government officials. For example, Father Salvi, San Diego's new priest, is always at odds with the military officer who is in charge of the village's civil guard group. Salvi uses his important religious position as an insult to the ensign by fining him for missing church services and giving purposely dull lectures when he does go. Ibarra learns from the schoolmaster that the friars also get in the way of other parts of daily life in San Diego. The schoolmaster tells him that Father Damaso gets in the way of his teaching by insisting that he only use Tagalog, the local language of the country, instead of teaching the kids Spanish. Additionally, Damaso says that the schoolmaster hit the kids, making the classroom an unpleasant place that is not good for learning. When Ibarra hears this, he chooses to build a private school in San Diego, just like his father had wanted to do before he died. Ibarra takes Tasio's advice and offers his ideas to the town's religious and social leaders. He does this in a way that makes it look like he wants them to be involved with the school, but he doesn't plan to listen to their input once it is built. Along the way, Crispin and Basilio, 2 poor boys, study to become sextons, which means they take care of the church. Crispin is wrongly accused of theft, so he has to work with his brother all the time to pay off the ridiculous amounts of money the head sexton says Crispin owes the church. This is so they can help their mother, Sisa. Someone takes Crispin away and beats him badly when he complains about this unfair treatment one night. Basilio looks for his brother because he is afraid for his life. He then runs home during a storm and waits with his mother for Crispin to come home but fails to see him. It doesn't happen, and Basilio goes back to town the next day. Sisa is scared and goes looking for both of her boys. She is told that the civil guard has been told to arrest them for theft, but no one can find them. The woman is arrested and then freed. She then looks for her boys all night, wandering around the town and the nearby woods until she goes permanently crazy and can't afford food. When Ibarra goes to the Catholic graveyard, He talks to a gravedigger and finds out that he dug up Don Rafael's body because Father Damaso told him to. Even though the friar told the gravedigger to take Rafael's body to the less revered Chinese graveyard, the gravedigger chose to bury Don Rafael in the lake instead because he thought it was a more fitting place for him to rest. They decide that the fiesta and the opening of the new school should happen on the same day, which is good for everyone. The church plans to bless the new school building right after Father Damaso's long talk, even though it's not finished yet. During the lecture, an unknown person comes up to Ibarra. And his name is Elias. Ibarra recently saved his life while he was fishing. Elias tells Ibarra that he is going to be killed at the school's blessing event and tells him not to walk under a big stone that is hanging from a hanger. This warning is ignored by Ibarra, and sure enough, the stone jumps toward him. Luckily, Elias steps in and puts the criminal, the man who was planning to kill Ibarra, in front of the stone, killing him instead of Ibarra. The party goes on, but Ibarra now knows that he has enemies. That night, Father Damaso shows up unwanted to a party dinner that Ibarra is throwing. The governor and the town's other friars are among the most well-known and admired people in San Diego. Damaso publicly insults the school and its design and says mean things about Indios, a racial slur for native Filipinos. He talks about Indios leaving their country because they think they are better than everyone else and going to Europe instead. He says, in this life, the fathers of such vipers are punished. They die in jail, or rather, they don't have a place to go. Hearing Damaso make this rude comment about how unfair it was that his father died, Ibarra charges Damaso with publicly digging up his body. He then pinning the priest down while holding a knife in his free hand. Ibarra says he won't kill Damaso, but what he does shows that he will. As he raises the knife to bury it in the friar's body, Maria Clara grabs it. With this shameful event behind him, Ibarra is kicked out of the church. Without any morals, Captain Tiago calls off the wedding between Ibarra and Maria Clara and instead marries his daughter to Linares, a young man from Spain. Don Tiburcio de Espadana is a fake doctor who treats Maria Clara for a sudden illness that makes her unable to work for a few days after what happened between Ibarra and Father Damaso. Linares is his nephew. At the same time, the Captain General, who is the highest-ranking government official representing Spain, goes to San Diego. His goals are more civil than religious, and he supports Ibarra's purpose to build a school, so the friars beg him to punish the young man. Instead, he pulls strings to get the young man's excommunication lifted. Father Salvi makes plans with a man named Lucas, who is the brother of the man who was hired to kill Ibarra with the big stone, while Ibarra works on his project. Lucas wants to get back at Ibarra because his brother died. Father Salvi plans to frame Ibarra with Lucas. He does this because he secretly loves Maria Clara and thinks Ibarra is a sinner. He gets Lucas to help him get a group of rebels together to attack the military camp of the Civil Guard. He tells them that Ibarra is in charge of the group. A few hours before the attack, Father Salvi runs to the ensign and tells him about the plan. He also asks the ensign to let everyone know that he, Salvi, saved the town by finding out about the plan and telling everyone. The attack goes as planned by Salvi and Lucas, and Ibarra is caught. He was jailed and found guilty because of a vague word in a letter he wrote to Maria Clara. The hero is saved again by Elias, who breaks him out of jail and takes him away on a boat. He goes to Maria Clara's house, gets up on her porch, and says goodbye to her before they leave town. She says she gave up his message, which led to his conviction and sentence, because she was forced to. Someone got up to her and told her that Fray Damaso, not Captain Tiago, is her real father. If she didn't give him Ibarra's letter, the man said he would tell other people about this. She turned over Ibarra's letter because she thought it was the right thing to do to protect Captain Tiago's honor and the memory of her late mother. They still talk, and she tells Ibarra that she loves him and is very sorry for betraying him. After leaving Maria Clara, Ibarra gets into Elias's boat. As the two men row into the night, they continue a heated argument they started earlier about the difference between revolution and reform. They are arguing about whether it is better to work within a corrupt system to change it rather than overthrowing it totally. They know they're being chased by another boat as they talk. Elias tries to get ahead of the people who are after them, but he quickly sees that they'll catch up. As shots fly by, he tells Ibarra to row, and then he decides to jump off the boat to throw off the people who are following them. He tells Ibarra to meet him on Christmas Eve in the woods near San Diego, where Ibarra's grandfather is buried with the family's money. This is where he plans to dive. The boat goes after Elias instead of Ibarra when he jumps into the water. Elias scares them by diving deep into the water and only coming up for air sometimes. However, the people who are after him soon don't see him come back up. Some people even think they see blood in the water. Father Damaso goes to see Maria Clara in San Diego. She tells him she can't marry Linares because she doesn't love him. She talks about a story that said Ibarra was found dead on the lakeshore, which was not true. She tells the priest that the news has taken away all reason for her to live, so she can't go through with the wedding. Instead, she chooses to join a convent. Little Basilio gets lost on Christmas Eve after leaving the house in the woods where he's been staying with a kind family since the civil guard began looking for him. He goes to San Diego to find his mother, Sisa. They meet again, but she doesn't recognize him and runs off, bringing him back to the woods where she goes to find the old tomb where Ibarra's grandpa is buried. But when Basilio finally gets to his mother, he passes out. Sisa finally sees that he is her son and kisses him all over. She is dead next to Basilio when he wakes up. Elias shows up at that moment. He is hurt, and since Ibarra hasn't shown up yet, he tells Basilio that he is going to die and tells the boy to set fire to his and Sisa's bodies. He says his last words while looking up at the sky: "I die without seeing dawn's light shining on my country. You who will see it, please accept it for me. Don't forget the people who died at night." At the end of the book, nothing is said about what happened to Ibarra.
About the author. Rizal was born in the Philippines when it was ruled by Spain. He came from a rich family and, like the main character in Noli Me Tangere, went to Europe to study when he was 20. During this time, he worked with other anti-colonialists and expatriates who shared his views to spread the idea that Spanish colonialism was bad, though Rizal never publicly supported the Philippines' full freedom. Rizal wrote Noli Me Tangere while he was away from home. In the 1880s, when he came back to his country, he was charged with treason. In answer, he went back to Europe and kept writing and working for change. He was still in the Philippines in 1896, but he was living in exile in the city of Dapitan. This was before the Philippine Revolution. He then offered to be a doctor for the Spanish army, probably so that he could get out of exile. He became a hero for Filipinos fighting against colonialism when he was caught, found guilty of treason, and executed by firing squad.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.